very much appreciate about your work is you're the man that did the research. It seems like so many health experts and workout experts and strength experts always come back to your research. So to
Oh,
be able
thank you.
to talk to you direct. Um,
Thank you.
my favorite, and I will put a link to this, my favorite YouTube video that lays out a lot of what you've done is strength training for baby boomers and beyond. And basically, you give us the hard, cold facts. We're going to be losing about 10
Thank you.
pounds of muscle after we're 50. We lose about 10 pounds of muscles every 10 years. Do I have that right?
That's correct. Yes. After menopause for women, it increases up to about 8 to 10 pounds per decade
Mhm.
of muscle loss. That's actually not our research. That's Miriam Nelson's research from Tufts University, and several other people at this point. But before that time, it's less. It's like 5 pounds for women, 7 pounds per men. But boy, once you hit 50, things
Yep.
change.
Yep. And the darn thing is, we don't know because it still looks the same because that muscle's being replaced by fat.
Right. The weight stays the same, so people
Right.
don't realize.
We're walking around in the same clothes thinking we're doing great, and actually we've got more fat than muscle. And what's exciting about the whole thing is we can reverse the muscle loss.
Yes.
And I love the work that you've done in the strength training, and also what I really listened to as I went through all of your work was
Thank you.
was incorporating the protein, and you got
Yes.
to up your protein. And I will put a link to that and some podcasts about that. This is the question in the short time that we have, because I'm a believer now, Dr. Westcott. I'm a believer. I've got to up my protein. Um, can we do it, or have you seen any research where they're looking at plant-based protein? Because we know in nutrition now they're talking a lot about our microbiomes and the need for a lot of whole food plant-based in our diet.
Yes.
Have you seen any research around upping the muscles using whole food plant-based protein?
Uh-huh. Yes. Let me give you what I do know. Again, I'm not an RD, but we've done a lot of research with protein. And the studies that look at different types of protein always find that milk protein is the best. Whey works better than the others in the studies, in the laboratory. Okay, that's one side. The other side, we have used all types of protein in our research studies. We've used whey protein, soy protein, non-soy, which would be pea protein, which is my favorite. That's what I had this morning. I like pea protein just for some reason. Um, and we have not seen. Now we didn't compare specifically the different types of protein, but based on the results in our osteoporosis studies, on our weight loss studies, on our muscle gain studies, we haven't seen any difference at all between the soy, non-soy, whey, or just, and we also studies we're just getting it from meats and dairy, like chicken and fish and turkey. We haven't seen any difference in the practical setting between those.
Brilliant. And what I'm hearing you say is you like the pea protein, which is a plant-based protein.
Mm-hmm. Yep, my favorite.
And you're getting good results with that. Now this is the question. Rather than using the powder, can one go get some frozen peas and throw them into their smoothie? Would that work
Well,
as well, do you think? So we can see what we're eating.
yes, you certainly could, but peas in and of themselves, as with beans and certain grains like wheat germ or other things like soybeans, they have a lot of protein, but they don't have nearly as much as your animal sources like milk
Yep.
or chicken or fish. So you'd have to have an awful lot of peas to do that. You have to throw in a lot to get a significant amount of protein. So when they do the protein, they take lots of peas and take the protein out of the peas. It's a plant-based protein, but you'd have to eat a lot of
Okay.
peas, which I do. I eat lots of peas and beans. I do eat some uh, fish, chicken, dairy, but mostly I'm a plant-based person, as you are.
How are you? That's I'm delighted because I've never heard you mention that before, and you are
I have
in
mentioned it before.
you are in phenomenal shape. Uh,
Well, sit up a little bit here. Okay, thank you. You look very fit. I'm much older than you are, so I'm doing my best. It gets harder as you get up in the 70s.
well, what I love about your approach is you acknowledge that you're not going to be running as fast,
Right.
and but we can reverse the muscle loss, and we can prevent from going, and I love if I may quote you,
Sure.
it's like going, when we're losing the muscle, it's like going from a 12-cylinder Jaguar to a 4-cylinder Volkswagen. I love that. I love it.
The muscles are the engines of the body, yes.
And in your research, you looked at how important it was to add the protein before your workout or right after the workout.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still where you're standing, Dr. Westcott? Or can you
that's where we stand.
Can you increase the protein during the day? Or is it more powerful and beneficial if you do it before or right after the workout?
Right. And again, the research is split down the middle on that. I have lots of studies in my files that say you get better results if you take the protein in close proximity to your training session, because this is Dr. Mark Tarplowski, probably one of the greatest physician researchers in North America. And he says muscles are much more effective at assimilating amino acids from the proteins just after they've been exercised. I shouldn't say just after they've been exercised. So if you have the protein in your system just before or just after, and the research doesn't show any difference in taking the protein before or after. I take it before. In all of our studies, they've taken it after. It's pretty much the same as long as it's available right after the workout. About half the studies would show that is more effective than taking that same amount of protein at different times of the day. The other half of the studies would say, no, as long as you're getting the protein throughout the day, there's not a major difference. We do it that way because we found in all of our studies it's been very effective, but you could also just take the protein throughout the day if you prefer.
Okay. And how much before your workout are you doing your protein?
I'm an old timer, so I take it immediately. I take that protein shake and say, I am ready to go. It's like Popeye with his spinach. All right. But most people say within 30 to 60 minutes before to 30 to 60 minutes after is the best window for getting the pre or post protein effects relative to your workout.
Because my bones are still a bit fragile, I'm doing the high intensity that you did with the seniors. I love that study where you get them out of the walkers and out of the wheelchairs. So I'm doing that. I do mine in a 15-minute block, but I go really hard. I go for fatigue, like what you talk about.
Good.
I do that better on an empty stomach. And after you work out that hard, you don't feel hungry, do you?
I don't. Some people do, but if they take their protein shake right after the workout, they feel satiated. We've had so much feedback from people that did that. They don't stop at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or someplace and get a big latte. They say, I feel great. I don't need to eat, something, a quick sugar, quick, pick me up or caffeine, whatever. So I think there's a psychological as well as a physiological benefit to doing that.
Perfect. And for us seniors that are noticing that it takes us longer to digest things, I'm wondering if you can still get the benefit if, let's say, you do it an hour and a half before the workout.
Sure. The other thing with seniors, I don't know if you've read this in my information or not, but with seniors, they because we don't process protein nearly as well as we did when we were in our 30s, we need to take about 20 grams, 15 at least, at each time we take protein for the body to actually gear up and put it into process and assimilate it.
Okay, 15 to 20 grams when we do have our protein in order to assimilate. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. Just see if I've got the protein bit correct. If I may repeat a couple of things back to make sure I've got it.
Yeah.
The trick of making sure you're getting enough protein, especially for our seniors. And what's been found in research, you need to have at least 15 to 20 grams of protein when you get that hit.
I couldn't hear you quite, but 15
okay,
to 20 grams.
15 to 20 grams of protein when you get that protein hit.
Yes. So anytime that you take protein, if you're a senior, you should get at least 15 or 20. So here's an example. If you take a regular yogurt, that's all you have for your snack. Regular yogurt has about 12 grams of protein.
Yep.
Your body might not gear up to actually process that or assimilate the amino acids. But if you take a Greek protein, a Greek yogurt, it has about 20 grams of protein. And that would, so say, okay, I'm going to take a Greek yogurt instead of a regular because it has enough protein that if I just take that one thing for my snack, it will it will go into action. Yes.
Okay, okay, now a question for you. When you did your pea protein this morning, how many grams of protein did you get?
I go with 25 grams, and that's because in all of our studies, we used, in the studies, you have to be somewhat specific. So we used a protein that it had 24 grams of protein, whether it was whey or soy or non-soy or pea or whatever. And it also had 36 grams of carbohydrate. You say, well, do you really need that? No, you don't. But we wanted it because you need energy. We were working out and we wanted the energy supply there also, as well as the protein. And that's probably why they had the protein carb combination. They always lose a lot of fat at the same time they gain muscle. And we believe the protein is the primary reason for that, of course, along with the exercise. But I mean, they're doing a diet, but it's not a crazy diet. Their diet for women would be 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day, men 15 to 1800. So it's not a crazy diet. It's a pretty modest calorie cutback for most people. But that protein is satiating. It provides the building blocks for adding the muscle, which increases your metabolic rate, so you lose fat more easily. It's a definite bonus. It's a plus, and everybody likes it. They love the protein. Even when we finished our 6-month study, in which the participants lost 14 pounds of fat and added 4 pounds of muscle, which had never happened before, we said, would you like to be in a 9-month follow-up maintenance study? Now, keep in mind, there are less than 10 maintenance studies ever that have shown that people can maintain their weight for 6 months, let alone 9 months, okay?
Yep.
They maintain their body weight, their lower body weight, their post-op body for that period of time, and they continue to add muscle at the same rate, about 3 pounds every 6 months, all right, of new muscle without adding weight and still losing a little bit of fat, because they said, we're going to continue 1 protein shake a day. And they did. Of course, they continued their strength training too. but yeah, the protein is a kind of a new factor. And I didn't come up with this idea. I'm never creative. I just research things. But Wayne Campbell has said, he's a great researcher. He's out at Purdue, used to be at Tufts. He says, people over 60, you can strength train all day long, but if you don't have at least 50% more protein than the United States recommended daily allowance, you're not going to build muscle. You need that extra protein because you don't process it as well.
Well, it's such a joy to hear that we can get that protein from a plant source like pea protein.
Oh, yes, certainly can.
One of the dilemmas that I work when I'm in Las Vegas, I'm based out of Las Vegas. A lot of my clients are executives that have heart problems, and they're either using the Ornish or the Esselstyn program to turn around that heart disease, which means no animal proteins. And I'm always looking for a trainer to work with them, especially with the super slow high intensity where they're not going to get hurt. I'm finding with a lot of older folks, and I'm talking to the expert here, a lot of them stay away from the gym because they're afraid of getting hurt. They don't have the time, true, but underneath, as you start digging, they've been hurt, they've worked out with a trainer who's hurt, and the rehab was a bitch. So trying to find, and it seemed I would interview trainers in Las Vegas to refer them to, and they'd say, oh, we can go plant-based, and then I would hear later they were pushing them into the whey, the milk-based or different kinds of protein, and really pushing that hard to get the results. So yay.
Well, I applaud you on your super slow. We did 2 major research studies on super slow. I'm not a super slow person.
I know you aren't.
My personality. But,
I know
I was not biased. I mean, I didn't have a bias on this. And yet in both studies, those that did the 10 up, 4 down, that's what the original super slow with Ken Hutchins and Ben, whatever Ben's last name is. That's
and
what
Ellington. Ellington Darden does this. I love his work.
Well, we were just in communication this week. He has a new book out. He's awesome.
Is he doing great?
He's doing great. He's amazing. Yeah. He's older than both of us, but he's.
I know. And for an ex-fitness guy, with the big muscles, they usually don't live long, and he's doing great.
Yes, he is. But we found in both of our super slow studies, I did 2 because the first one people said they can't be that good. With beginners, not advanced beginners, 50% greater strength gains in doing the exact same thing with the super slow than the regular train. So because I just don't like the 10 up. I'm not, no
I
problem
know.
with no problem with the 4 or 5 down. We've come for the program that we do 5 reps, 5 seconds up,
Yep.
5 seconds down,
Yep.
and we do 5 reps of that. So that puts us 50 seconds. We're right in the middle of the anaerobic energy system, and people don't hate it quite as much because it's so tensive and tough. But we do a modified super slow, and it works really well.
I've been trying something with my 94-year-old mother, and she is wheelchair and walker bound at this point. And we're doing the super slow, trying to get some muscle on her. But what we're doing is we're doing a slow up, and then we hold, which is that isometric, and then even go, like Ellington says, go slower down.
Right. He's big on the eccentric, slow eccentric.
Yep. And that seemed, but what really worked for Mom is when I told her about your study with the senior citizens. But I think they were 90 years old in a senior home.
89, but who's going to argue 1 year? Yes.
Okay. All right. And how many were in the study?
There are about 20 in the study. They gave us 20 people and said, get these people out of their wheelchairs in 3.5 months. Yeah.
And you had 3.5 months to work with them. And I laughed when I heard the results, because 19 of them were out of their wheelchairs and no longer needed the walker, except for the double amputee.
She was awesome. Yes. She couldn't do the leg exercise, of course, but her upper body, she was much stronger, so she could use her wheelchair much more effectively, and everything else was better.
Now you've been working out your whole life. When did you start? How old were you?
I started about when I was age 15. I wish I'd started much earlier. We've done a lot of research on youth, and I should have started age 10, but I didn't start. Like 14, 15. Yeah. 14.
And so you've been working out your whole life. I can understand for someone like yourself that doing the super slow seems, that just doesn't, your body, when you worked, when you did the study with the senior citizens, who was doing the super slow with them? Was it you or one of your folks?
Well, in the nursing home study, we went slowly, but we didn't specifically follow the super slow protocol.
Okay.
When I did my super slow research, that was done in our research center, and so we had myself and my staff.
Yeah, your staff.
In small groups. We'd have about 6 or 8 people per group, and they're working out, and they would have the same instructor. All did the same thing. It was very, very carefully monitored, and they did the 10 up, 4 down. They were perfect. Yes.
And
we timed them to make sure.
What really struck me was afterwards, no one wanted to continue. That was the problem.
Right.
They got super results, but no one wanted to continue the program.
In our group, now I'm not saying those were all seniors. The average age, I have to check. I think the average age is probably in the early 50s on that one. And so we had 2 studies. I did 2 because I wanted to replicate to make sure it was the same. And they were exactly the same. One was 50.5% better, and one was 49.5% better. So they did well. We had 75, basically 74 and 73 in the 2 studies. So we had about 150 people. And only 1 in each study wanted to continue. So that's why I said, this works so well, but it's a little tense, a little tedious, a little tough for many people to do in our fast society in America. So I said, let's try that. Let's try a 5-5-5, which was kind of a compromise. And that worked pretty well also. Yeah, works pretty well. So 5 up, 5 down, 5 reps. And then when you can do 6 reps, we increased the weight a little bit.
Dr. Westcott, I only have on my Skype today 40 minutes. So we're coming. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Oh, you're fabulous. I love your demonstrations. That's what makes people want to do something.
Just a quick question, and I'm not sure if we're going to be cut off when it comes to the end, but I understand that that you are offering classes over the internet through the college, yes?
Yes, we do. That's right. Yeah, I'm kind of new to doing the internet class, the online classes, but yes, we have quite a few of them.
Wonderful, and I will explore that. And I'm just wondering, you know that I'm a certified group fitness instructor, and wondering if I could use some of those for my my credits that I need. So I'll start exploring that because I sure would like to take a class with you, Dr. Westcott.
Yes, you certainly can. Absolutely. ACE, NSA, ACSM, if you're certified by any of those bodies, I think all the others too. But they give quite a few credits for taking courses. I'm surprised how many they give. So it's a good way to do it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, this has been wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, I learned more from you than you learned from me. Believe me, Michelle. Thank you.
You're
For the
too kind.
privilege.
You're too
No,
kind.
no.
Um,
Seriously.
and of course, if you ever get down to New Zealand, I don't know when I'm going to get back to the US, but if you ever get down here, I'd love to give you the grand tour of our neighborhood.
Wow. What part of New Zealand are you in?
I'm just north of Auckland, about an hour and a half north of Auckland.
Love New Zealand. Some of the greatest athletes in the world are from New Zealand. I've had interns from New Zealand before. Love them. They're the nicest people. And
Have
they
you been here
travel
yet?
everywhere.
Have you been
I've
here
never
yet?
been there. No,
Well,
no.
let's hope
no.
we can get through this virus and you and your wife can take a trip down here because you'd
Oh
love
my
it.
goodness. Thank you, Michelle. You're so kind. Thank you
Thank
for what
you.
you're doing. My
Thank
privilege.
you so much. You take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations on all you've done.
Thank you. Bye-bye.